The sirens are screaming and the fires are howling way down in the valley tonight. There's a man in the shadow with a gun in his eye and a blade shining oh so bright. Oh, and down in the tunnel where the deadly arise, and oh, I swear I saw a young boy down in the gutter. He was starting to foam in the heat. Meatloaf is dead. Rest in peace, Meatloaf. And that's the start of my video for this week, this Sunday sum up, which comes to you on a Monday. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell, the great album from 1977, one of the greatest albums of my life at least. Welcome to this talk about books and about other things that happened over the course of the last week. Let's get this video started. I finished only one book last week, and that was Emily Ratajkowski's book about her body, which is called My Body. And I have finished all the essays that start almost with this. They're pretty much chronologically in this book, from the start of her career with My Body and Blurred Lines, the video with more than 1 billion views all in all together that made her career go to the stars, if you want, until the time that she gives birth to her son with her body. And I didn't know so much about Emily Ratajkowski. I sort of registered her for the very first time actually I had seen her in Gone Girl, the movie, but I didn't remember her name. She's playing in that movie as an actress. She's an actress in that movie. But I didn't remember her from that. I heard her for the very first time in 2020 when she endorsed Bernie Sanders in the American presidential elections and when she talked to Michael Moore in his podcast Rumble. So that's where I got to know about Emily Ratajkowski, who is apparently a super trooper model, 28.8 million followers on Instagram, and her body is always in the focus also on Instagram. She talks a lot about her body in this book, which is sort of a concept album, if you want. I would call it a concept book because she's not writing her essays about a large variety of her personality or of her life, but mostly these essays are focused on how her body is seen by others, experienced by herself, how much it shapes the desires and bad behavior of men, and how she sort of sells it to make a living, and how she reflects about this industry where she's working in. It's very well written. I have to say she writes in a very easy but reflective way about the things that she's talking about. But I think that the topic, the body, is pretty much limited to her appearance. And when you go to her Instagram channel, you will see hundreds of photos where she is, well, more than half naked, I would say, where she's advertising things because she has so many followers on Instagram. She's an influencer, and she is the very tiny clothes that she's showing are all clothes that she gets a lot of money for showing them on her Instagram account. And she knows pretty well about why she's doing that, or why people engage her, make a contract with her, and why she is so successful. But there's also the question that probably every woman has, that she always is competing with others. She always wants to be more beautiful than others. It starts in her early childhood, and continues over her teenage years and even to the model phase of her life. So if you are interested in that, in reading about a model in the modeling industry who is very successful, but who's also very reflective about what she's doing and who knows exactly what she is doing, read this. And there are also some essays where she had very bad experiences. Please Teenagers Don't Listen, with some really asshole men who are exploiting her, who are sort of using her even in a partly criminal way to make money with her body. So that's Emily Ratajkowski. The other books that I'm currently reading are still not finished. That is April in Spain by John Banville. John Banville is an Irish author. He is the winner of the Booker Prize in 2005, and he has in his late years now, he's 76 years old now, he has turned to write thrillers, and he has written a beautiful thriller about April in Spain, which is a book of a couple, middle-aged couple, going on a holiday to Spain, and the man, Mr. Quirk, who is a pathologist in Dublin, sees a woman in the little San Sebastian, I think it's in San Sebastian in the Basque country, where a woman that he remembers from Ireland, and a woman that he thought was dead. So that starts the story, and it's very beautifully described. The country, the city, the characters are extremely well crafted. And I have to say, because I've read a lot of thrillers in my life, the characters in this book are much better depicted than in 95% of all the other crime novels I have read. So there's John Banville's April in Spain, which I hopefully will finish this week. I also read a graphic novel, which I'm almost finished with, and that's In Dot by Will McPhail, which is a story about a young man who is desperately wanting to communicate meaningful things with people in his world, with his mom, with his sister, with a girlfriend, but who's not capable of really finding the real, the good code, the real code to connect to each other, who doesn't know how to communicate with the world that he's living in. I think that in certain kinds of situations applies to a lot of us. So these are the two books that I'm also reading, and I got a bombardment from the library, and I want to show you some of the books at the library because I made 9 reservations. I told you that in my TBR video. And from these 9 reservations, the library was so kind to send me 7 in 1 week. So I really have to adjust my TBR right now. I'm going to show you the books after a short break. The library was really quick. I reserved 9 books at the library, which was a mistake. Yes, I confess. I know. I should have known better. But nevertheless, they sent me 7 of these 9 books already last week. And one of them I will have to start as soon as possible, probably today even. And this is Matrix by Lauren Groff, which I only have 14 days to finish. Lauren Groff's book, Matrix, one of the most talked about books of 2021, is a feminist book where she writes a historical novel about a French woman coming to a British monastery. As far as I know, yes, 17-year-old Mary, too wild for courtly life, is thrown to the dogs one winter morning, expelled from the royal court to become the prioress of an abbey. Mary is strange, tall, a giant as her elbows and knees stick out ungainly, and that's the story of Mary coming to this abbey. The other ones I might be able to extend the period I will have them, because you can extend twice at the library if no other person is waiting for those books. And I got 6 delivered last week, 6 more, and here they are. This is All at Night, All Blood is Black, a pocket edition of this book by David Diop. He won the Booker, the 2021 International Booker Prize, as it says here also on the label, a story about about a Senegalese soldier in the First World War and the horror of the First World War, every war is bad, every war is horrible, but World War I is often described in literature, but also in history, as the most horrible of all wars, if that is possible. Then I got The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, a classic about this butler in the UK, and he won the Booker Prize with this book, actually. It's the 1989 Booker winner. Kazuo Ishiguro is a book about an elegy for England at a time of acute change. Plays, I think, in the 1950s. I would love to read this one. Then I got The Removed by Brendan Hobbs, a Native American writer who has written a book about, I think, Cherokee myths and, in the 15 years since, it's the Cherokee nation that is drawing deeply on Cherokee folklore. The Removed seamlessly blends the real and the spiritual to excavate the deep reverberations of trauma, a meditation on family grief, home, and the power of stories on both a personal and ancestral level. I also got Malibu Rising by Jenkins Reid. I think this plays out in 24 hours. A couple of friends at the ocean in Malibu, Los Angeles, California. I actually know a person. I have met a person. I know a person, very famous German writer who lives in Malibu, and that's the wonderful author Cornelia Funke. I had the honor to have a conversation with her in front of students a couple of years ago in Stockholm. Then I have Torrey Peters' Detransition Baby by Torrey Peters. That book was also hailed and praised last year. I know it's going to be extremely difficult to read all these books within a week, but not within a week, but within a month. And they also change my TBR, and I will think about how I can adapt my TBR. But the TBR for January I had was 7 books, and I think I will finish all these 7 books in January, and I will be able to at least use Matrix by Lauren Groff as the bonus read for January, which I will really try to read in this month. And then concerning February, I will see how I manage with my TBR that I have published earlier. I have already at least, I think I have 2 buddy reads in the making. You're always welcome to say, let's buddy read this or that. Make suggestions to me. I will read for Richard Forrest Canada and for Miyako Kawakami's All the Lovers in the Night. I'm about to commit or have committed to buddy reads already. So that is that. I think much more I don't have to say. Much more I don't have to say. Is it a song now? Don't have to say. Oh, give me just another moment to see the light of the day and take me to another land where I don't have to stay. That's Meatloaf. And I'm gonna need somebody to make me feel like you do. And I'm gonna see somebody with open eyes, open arms, open up the sky and let the planet that I love shine through. For crying out loud, you know how I love you. For crying out loud, you know I love you. That's such great music, and a part of me died with Meatloaf last week. That sounds so sad, but his music is still with us. And if you haven't heard, if you are too young to have heard Bat Out of Hell from 1977 by Meatloaf, produced by Jim Steinman with amazing musicians like Todd Rundgren on the guitar, with Roy Bittan from Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band on the piano, and with Max Weinberg, the mighty Max from Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band on the drums, and listen to Bat Out of Hell. It's one of the most sold albums of all times. So now, rest in peace. And as Meatloaf's family communicated last week, he would want you to keep on rockin' forever so that rock and roll never dies. See you soon. Bye-bye. Have a great rockin' week.